Start maybe. Okay.
Okay, I have started.
Yeah.
So let us start.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Okay, hello everyone. Good afternoon. Yeah, you might be wondering that why this kind of lecture is there, a special lecture on plagiarism, particularly when we all know that copying is wrong and it is not supposed to be done by any student. Okay, but in spite of knowing all these things, we have come across with some serious situations and found certain students copying or plagiarizing. I hope you all know the meaning of plagiarizing. If you don't, then I will explain, of course, in due course of this lecture. So they were found copying or plagiarizing, and it was a very sad situation that we had to take action against them. And this should not happen in future with any of you. That is the sole purpose of having this special lecture on plagiarism and creativity in architecture, right? Because we all have taken admission to this particular course, architecture, because it is a very, very creative field. It gives a scope to your own unique talent and creativity. That is why we come to architecture. Everyone, please mute yourself. Okay, so just because this is a field that is very creative and we take admission here to get the scope for our own creativity, to express ourselves in a very unique manner, and we ultimately end up copying something that is not our own, and then we expect ourselves to be appreciated for that, to get good marks for that. That is the sole purpose that we are having this lecture. I will go through my presentation, and whatever doubts you have, you may ask me there and there, no problem. Don't worry about disturbing me anytime. Okay, or at the end also you can ask me the questions or your doubts. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Everyone, please mute yourself. Okay, so we are talking about creativity in architecture, or creativity rather in any field. Whichever creative fields are there, we are talking about those fields and plagiarism in those fields. So this is what we come across, this kind of situation in field of research, in field of any other fields, that is creative fields like music, maybe art, architecture, fine arts, modeling. Okay, so everyone ends up getting the same output and considering that as their own unique creation. It is very difficult in such fields to identify the difference between the original and the copy work. You know, there is nothing that we can call as a very, very original, maybe thought, maybe expression, or in any medium, your expression in any medium. So there is no such thing as a new idea. Whatever you call this is my original idea, you must have taken something from somewhere. Consciously, subconsciously, you might have taken, if your say work, there is one work, okay, you might have taken 100 ideas from 100 different sources, and in your mind you might have composed it in your own unique way. So that is how we consider that this is an original creation. So we simply take, this is Mark Twain says, we simply take old ideas and put them into a mental kaleidoscope. We give them a turn and then make new and curious different combinations. So we keep on turning, making new combinations indefinitely, but we have to remember that they are the same old pieces of colored glass that have been in use through all these ages. So whenever we say in music, we have composed a new bandish or maybe a new composition, what is new in that? What is original in that? Because we know that in music, there are only 7 notes, right? Plus 5, there are 12 notes in all. So whatever you compose, it will be within those. And definitely, at some point of time, you will be repeating those notes or some composition of those notes at some particular point. In spite of that, we come across various different compositions. And there can be some called as original compositions, some are copied. You can identify some, you cannot identify some. But definitely, your own creation is taken from somewhere consciously or subconsciously. The source may be 1 or 2 or source may be hundreds. And copying is how we learn. If you don't copy since your childhood, you won't learn any single thing. You copy ABCD, you copy the basic drawings, those mountains and the sun rising from that. That is how we start drawing, right? So whenever you learn something, you start with copy. And that is the only way we learn anything. So what is wrong in copying? Is there anything wrong? In any art form, or even as I said, ABCD, in maths, any form or any field, you start with copying or you learn from copying. So may it be music, drawings, paintings, dance, acting, crafts, cooking, writing, the list is endless. So where there is creativity, there is plagiarism. Now, when we know that in all these art forms, whatever we learn is from copying, and when we say something that is our original, we have composition of various different ideas from various different sources. Okay. Now, when we say something that is original, that is my own, we know that there is an appreciation attached to it. People appreciate you, right? Creativity is connected with celebritism. I have seen small children also, knowingly, unknowingly, see how what happens when they show you some drawing and you curiously look at the drawing and you really appreciate, wow, this is a very good drawing. From where you have copied it? If you ask a child, some children may say, oh, okay, this is what I have copied. But there are some smart children who will say, no, I have drawn it on my own. And when you believe it or you pretend to believe it, and then you appreciate that child very much, the child knows that something that is original will be appreciated more than copying. So this is subconsciously, the child is plagiarizing. He is copying something, but saying that this is his own idea, saying that this is his original work. And he knows the appreciation that is attached to something that is original. And this happens since childhood. As I said, subconsciously. But it happens because the child knows that being original is something great. When you are passing something, see, copying is not wrong. Again, we have started with that. We have started our learning process with copying. But when you say that, okay, this is what is original, this is what I have tried to copy, and this is what I could achieve. Till then, till this particular point, you are very, very honest to yourself and you are honest to other people also. And you are honest to the original creator of that, whatever original piece of art. Okay. Now, when you start doing this, that you are copying something, but while conveying it to others, you are saying that this is my original work, then it is a plagiarism. And then plagiarism is a dishonesty. Plagiarism is a breach of academic integrity. What is plagiarism? It is passing on someone else's work as your own. And this is very, very serious offense. So, can you all please mute yourself? Okay, thank you. Okay, so you are using someone else's idea for your own work of art, and you are claiming that it is your own idea. I know it is very, very tempting because it is a shortcut to success. That is what you consider. And that is why plagiarism happens, because you are lazy. You don't want to work hard, right? But then this is called as stealing. This is considered as theft. So as serious is theft in actual material world, similarly, stealing in research is also a very, very serious offense in the field of research, nationally as well as internationally. So let us say, when we are saying plagiarism, what is plagiarism and what are the types of plagiarism? Okay, so academic integrity, what is academic integrity is the expectations that teachers, students, researchers, and all members of academic community act with honesty, trust, fairness, respect, and responsibility. So breaching academic integrity is also known as academic misconduct or academic dishonesty. Yeah. So why does plagiarism happen? Of course, the first thing, as I said, you are all lazy and we don't want to work hard. And that is why the easiest way out to do something in time, and probably if I'm not able to do a good work, then I will copy someone's good work. I want more marks, right? And what I'm most interested in is the final grades, the result. I'm not interested in the process of learning. I don't want to learn. I don't want to know anything. That's still fine. I will not attend classes. I will not attend any studios. I will not work in studios. What I will do at the end is take someone else's work, just change the name on it, and then submit it as my own. So this is all about you are putting outcomes ahead of processes. We are not interested in learning process. What we are interested in is the final result, outcome. That is all about plagiarism. Okay, yeah, this is what I told you about. The celebritism is attached with creativity. When something is called as original or identified as original, then that creator or that artist gets a celebrity status. He is appreciated a lot. And probably to get that kind of celebritism, you are tempted to plagiarize. Creativity requires hard work. It requires discipline. And there are many who find that as a too high a cost. We don't want to work. We don't want to work hard. We don't want to be self-disciplined. And that is why we tempt to plagiarize. Okay, in research ethics, there are various types of plagiarism, and they are ranked accordingly. What is the most serious offense and what is the least serious offense? Yeah, I think I missed something. Yeah. So these are the different types of plagiarisms. A complete plagiarism is you are just copying, pasting everything as it is. Okay, before that, I will just, I think I have arranged it in a little messed manner. Anyway, so in architecture, we have two different types of plagiarism. Generally, plagiarism in research field is identified in writing, whereas architecture is a field where we have writing as well as design and drawings. Okay, so in architecture, there are these two different types of plagiarisms that we do in writing reports, articles, or research papers, essays, thesis book, etc. That is in form of text and numbers. Whereas there is another type of plagiarism that happens in design and drawings. So any design ideas and expression and drawings, that may be design drawings or maybe even technical drawings and models. Okay, so in architecture, plagiarism can happen in these two different ways. Okay, now let us go to these types of plagiarism. First, as I said, complete plagiarism, pura ka pura, jaise ka taisa uthao. Okay, and pass it in as your own. Then second is a source-based plagiarism, when you are mentioning the source incorrectly. Maybe there is one author, but by mistake you are writing another author, or you are giving, you are reading a particular paper, okay, say that is written by X person. Then you go to the reference list and you find that this X author has taken something from the original source. Of course, he has mentioned that in the reference list. So you go to the original source, and in your writing, you give credit to only original source. You don't give credit to this X author. So that is a source-based plagiarism. Then data fabrication and falsification. That is putting a wrong data basically to prove your point. Then direct plagiarism copies the text or part as it is of another author word for word without the use of quotation marks or attributing it to the original source. It is in part, whereas complete plagiarism is, say, if you are writing a research paper, the complete research paper is somebody else's. Whereas in direct plagiarism, you have one para by one author, another para by another author, and then you are compiling and putting it as your own. Okay, but it has various para or various lines that are taken from some other authors. Self-plagiarism, you have published, say, one research paper somewhere at some publication house, and then you are again submitting the same research paper, maybe just changing the title of it to some other publication house. You are using your own work and plagiarizing yourself. Okay, it means that you have just one material for one research paper, but you are publishing 3-4 research papers on the same material. This is something again serious in a research fraternity. Paraphrasing, you are reading something, using it or changing the words and then using it as your own or trying to pass it as your own. That is paraphrasing. Inaccurate authorship, mosaic plagiarism. Again, as I said, there are some mixture of various authors, and then you are putting it and compiling it. And accidental plagiarism, that is unknowingly, sometimes it happens. Okay, yeah, and here this is the considered as a ranked the types of plagiarism. Okay, complete plagiarism is considered as the highest offense, whereas secondary sources, that is you are taking data from some say literature, okay, and that data you are copying. So that is considered as the least serious offense. Okay, now we are talking about plagiarism in writing. So let us see how we can avoid plagiarism in writing. The most accepted methods are acknowledge whatever you are writing, acknowledge that you are taken this particular information from a particular source. So you are acknowledging it and giving due credit to the author. Okay, then you can refer and you can cite. Citing is you are actually using the same words. Of course, I will explain it again. So when you have to express certain idea or thought, it becomes valid and trustworthy if you support it by someone famous, scientists, survey conclusions, or statistical data. You know why you have to acknowledge? It's not only giving credit to someone, but whatever you are saying becomes more believable, more trustworthy when you are acknowledging or you are saying that someone else has already worked on it, and it is accepted in this particular research field. And based on that, you are probably building your own research. Okay, so that becomes more trustworthy. When you are saying that everything is original, then it is always questionable, because everyone knows that nothing is completely original. Okay, so it's always better to refer, to acknowledge, and to say that this is the base on which I'm doing my own research, based on which. Okay, then you can prove that substantial work has been already done in that field, and there is a lot of scope, and you are thinking in the right direction, because many people, many researchers have already worked on it, and this is the right direction that I am going into. Your work then becomes more acceptable. When you have referred to various proven sources, someone else may refer your work also. So this is another feather in your cap. Okay, so when your work is trustworthy, when it is peer reviewed and published, then it is quite possible that the future researchers who will be referring to your own work, they will be citing you, or they will be referring you as the original author. Okay, it provides the researcher the list of all original work to refer to directly. So when at the end, you are putting the list of all the references, and someone else is trying to research in the same field, he will refer to your reference list, or even you will refer to, if you are reading some research article and you feel that, okay, this particular part is very helpful to me, then you can look into the reference list, look at the primary author, and then you can go to that original source. Or you can get n number of such references through that particular paper. Otherwise, you had found only one. When you refer to reference list, you will find 10 more. When you again go to those papers, you will find 10 more in each. So this is how your references or your resources will start increasing. This is called as a snowball effect in literature review. Okay, this is how you can find material. Otherwise, it is very difficult to find literature on a particular topic that you are doing. Say, you just Google whatever is the title, you just Google on it, and then you may come across 4 or 5 research papers. So 4 or 5 research papers are not enough for any research. In that case, what you can do is you can go to each paper. If that is useful to you, you feel that it is relevant to my research, then go to the reference list of that paper. So you will find 10 more. This is how you can go on finding the resources. Okay, and once you do all these things, you give your own reference list, you give in-text citation, you acknowledge and give due credit to the original author, you can avoid the charges of plagiarism. That is also very, very important. Then this expressing your thoughts. See, when we say that, okay, this is my own thought, we tend to believe ourselves that this is my own original thought. Okay, I was thinking on this, then, and this came to my mind. So this is my own thought. But you know, when we say that the thought came to my mind, there are 10 more things behind that. Why that thought came to your mind? You must have read something somewhere. You must have observed something. You must have seen maybe news, or you in past you might have read various articles, or at various locations. You might have read, you might have come across, and then your mind tries to digest all this data. And particularly when you are thinking on a specific thought, then all this, your past experiences, past readings, that all come here in picture subconsciously, and that is how you probably finalize that particular thought, and then you believe that this is your own thought. But behind that, as I said, there may be 10 or hundreds of resources. So whatever thought you feel that it is your original thought, it is always better you search for that. Just put your thought in Google and then search for it, and then you will come across that there are n number of people who are thinking in the same manner, or who have already thought in the same manner, right? So subconsciously, even though we believe that this is our own original thought, it is not an original thought. As Mark Twain said, it is always a compilation of whatever you have learned. It is in mind, you put it in the kaleidoscope, and then it gives you a different picture, and then you feel that this is something original. But actually, it is a compilation of all your previous experiences. Subconscious use of such literature is influence on your mind and expressions in writing. So, yeah, conscious use is we give credit when we consciously doing that. As I said, whatever thought comes to your mind, just put it in Google, and then you will come to know that these are the sources. Then probably you may come across, okay, this book I read previously. So now you come to know that, yes, this may be one of the origin of my thought. So when you are doing this consciously, then you can give credit to those certain books or authors that have influenced your expressions in writing. Okay, or we use the material consciously without giving due credit to the original author. So when you believe that this is your own original thought, and then you try to submit it as your own, you try to pass it as your own, then it will be called as a plagiarism. So it's always better to give due credits. Now, how this giving due credits happen?
അല്ല ബദ്രി
you all
ഫോട്ടോ അയച്ച അപ്പൊ ചേച്ചി അങ്ങനെ വരച്ചത്. ഓക്കെ,
thank you. Okay, so you all must have come across these terminologies: bibliography, references, and citation. Many a times we misunderstand these as synonyms. So here I am here to tell you that the differences between bibliography, references, and citation. What is bibliography? What is references? What is citation? Okay, first of all, you all know that this is a list of sources that are used to create, or that are used for any writing in alphabetical order. Okay, the reference list and works cited lists only those ideas that you have used in that particular research paper or whatever a thesis book. So which you have directly used in the book or in your article will be given under reference list or works cited. Whereas bibliography is, say, probably for say writing your thesis book, you will be reading say 40-50 books, or say research papers, say 40-50 resources, out of which while actual writing you might be using only 20. Okay, so these 20 which you are actually using while writing will come under your reference list or works cited. Whereas those 40 books or 40 resources that you have read for this particular purpose will come under bibliography, out of which 20 you are not using for writing this, or you are not directly using it. Okay, but still you have read it for the purpose of this particular study. So that will come under bibliography. I will explain it further. Bibliography is influence of various authors on your writing indirectly. Okay, that can be attributed to your readings in the topic. So it may be in past, it may be for that particular period of research, but you are influenced by those authors or by that writing, but you are not directly using it. Whereas references, you have read something and you are using it in your writing, though not as it is. Okay, so you have taken someone's idea, some researcher's idea, and then you are putting it in your own words. So do you still say that this is my own original idea? These are your own original words probably, but the idea is someone else's. You have taken someone else's idea and trying to put it in your own words. That is called as a paraphrasing. It is still not original. Okay, it is still a kind of plagiarism. If you are changing the words and saying that this is your own original idea. It is called as paraphrasing plagiarism. Okay, so rewriting the borrowed thought in your own words is paraphrasing. That is not using the same words, but using the idea. When the certain idea is expressed in your own words, but you know where it came from. So consciously, subconsciously, you are using someone else's idea and you are not giving due credit, then it will be a plagiarism. Okay, so such sources, even if you are changing the words, still you have to cite this source under the list of references. Okay, so this is called as references. Whereas citations, sometimes it happens so that you don't want to paraphrase because the original words are so powerful, or the original sentence is so powerful that you don't want to change it. Just like I have used the paragraph by Mark Twain at the starting of this presentation, right? That is, no idea is an original idea, not the exact words. What I did now is a paraphrasing, but the idea, the original idea for this particular sentence was by Mark Twain. And I did not want to change any single word from that. So I used it as it is. You can say it is copy paste. Fine, copy pasting I did. Rather, you can see in all these slides that I'm using, you will see the source that is mentioned below. Okay, not here, but you will see at many places. If you are observant enough, then you might have observed it before also. So even if I'm doing copy pasting, okay, below that, if I mention the original author, the original source, then I will not be charged for plagiarism. Understand this. What I'm doing here, I'm citing a particular work or a particular author. This is called as a citation, in-text citation. So what we are doing is we are using the exact terms or exact sentences or definitions as used by the original author. Sometimes we use the definition of the terms, or sometimes we use the meaning from the dictionary. So you can just mention that this is the meaning mentioned in this, or say Oxford Dictionary. That is a citation. Or you like certain poem, so you mention or cite certain lines from that particular poem, or some famous quotes, conclusions, or information, or even statistical data also. Sometimes we use it as it is. Okay, now how we can get rid of these plagiarism charges, particularly when you are using word to word and comma to comma, right? What you can do is you can just put these lines or whatever terms or sentences in italics, put it in the center, align it in the center, and put everything in the inverted comma from start to end. It will be into inverted comma. Okay. Below that, you can give the source, the author and the source, where it has been mentioned by that particular author. Okay. And then you can have a separate list of works cited apart from your reference list. So this is how we can avoid charges of plagiarism, even when we are copying it word to word as it is. Now let us see national and international laws and approaches towards plagiarism. So what happens if we are charged of plagiarism and the charge is proven? Let us see what happens. It comes under intellectual property rights. You know, you all must be aware of the term property rights. Like you have your inherited house, or say property or agricultural land, and then you know that this is your own property, and if somebody else tries to encroach it or grab it, then that person will be maybe imprisoned. You go to court and then you fight for your property, right? Similarly, your creation, the original creation, comes under intellectual property rights. This is considered as your own intellectual property. And then as per the law, international as well as Indian law, you are given certain rights to retain the ownership of your intellectual property. The purpose of such laws is to stimulate creativity by providing the exclusive right to the creator. Okay, and these protection rights inspire artists, authors, or inventors to share their work for the benefit of the society. So once it is protected under IPR, then you are willing to keep it open for everyone, and you know that it won't be unduly credited to some other person, because you are registered under IPR or various different laws, and you are protected under it. Okay, so according to IPR, ownership of intellectual property is treated as ownership of real property. So there are various types of this intellectual property. You all must be aware of these terminologies. Patent. So a particular product. Okay, if you create some innovative product, then you can apply for patent. And then if somebody wants to reproduce that particular product, then that person will have to give you a due credit or maybe the price for that. Okay, so that is called as a patent. So you register your own innovative product under patent law. Copyright, it protects artistic and literary work. And here the holder has the complete right and control over adaptation and reproduction of the work. You all must be knowing that if some author has a very, what we say, a very popular book written, okay, and if someone wants to make a movie based on that, so that movie producer has to go to the author and take a proper permission to produce a movie based on that particular novel or writing. Okay, so that comes under copyright law. Then the trademark, you all must be knowing this, like say, utterly butterly delicious, Amul. Immediately it comes to you, na, Amul. So if somebody wants to use the same phrase, that will come under trademark. If someone uses it, Amul may go to court, and then the person will be, or the institute, or maybe the organization or the industry will be fined for that, because it is registered under trademark. So it can be a symbol, it can be a phrase. Okay, then design. A design protects the outward appearance or the visual style of an object. So all architectural work comes under this design. Okay, then database. It is particularly the information. It is not the product as such, but the information is protected here. And the trade secret is, of course, a particular formula like Coca-Cola. You all must be aware of this. So a particular mixture or some formula of a particular product, that comes under the trade secret. Yeah. Now we will deal with copyright with respect to architecture. I want to read it because you all must understand what are the copyrights with respect to architecture. First thing, that you should not copy, or you should not be accused under this right. And second thing is, you have to protect your own work under this Copyright Act as a student, as a practitioner. So whenever you will be in practice, and if you have your own unique idea, then you will be protected under Copyright Act, and you must know what is this act. Okay, and what right it gives you. So freedom of panorama is an exception to the other provision of Copyright Act. This section, this particular section, is explained by the following points. So any painting, engraving, drawing, or display of a work of architecture, photograph of a work of architecture can be made or published and has been incorporated under so and so section. So this is what you cannot replicate and pass it as your own if somebody has already done it. Okay, then the making and publishing of drawing, painting, photograph of sculpture or any other artistic work, engraving or any other work of artistic craftsmanship, if such work is situated in a public place permanently. So all architecture work comes under this, situated in a public space permanently, or any premises where the public has an access. So all buildings, you can say that it is accessible from public area and it comes under this Copyright Protection Act. Any artistic work which is permanently situated in a public space or where the public has an access is included in a cinematograph film. So in a film, if you see, like, say you are in India and you may say that I have not seen Opera House in Sydney. Okay, but if you have seen the its photographs published, or you have seen it in some film and then you are copying, it is still protected under this Copyright Act. Okay, then it is in this regard that Indian copyright law can be appreciated as against European and American copyright law, which allows this freedom only if the copyrighted work is used for non-commercial or educational purpose, whereas the Indian law is not subject to such demarcations. So anywhere and everywhere it is protected by copyright law, irrespective of for what purpose it is used. So according to the Copyright Act, work of architecture means any building or structure having an artistic character or design or any model for such building or structure. Okay, then in first section, it is used having an artistic character or design. So what is artistic work means? It can be a painting, sculpture, drawing, including a diagram, map, chart, or plan, an engraving, photograph, whether or not any such work possess artistic quality or not. Even it may not have any artistic quality as such. In spite of that, it will come under this if it is accessible to public, or it is open for everyone to see. Okay, so a work of architecture or any other work of artistic craftsmanship, all this comes under Copyright Act in India. Protection under the ambit of Design Act 2000 has defined the term design as the features of shape, configuration, pattern, ornament, or composition of lines and colors, whether in 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional or in both the forms. So that is considered as design. And now you know where architectural design stands, or whether it fits into in this Copyright Act or not, or Design Act or not. Okay, now let us come to UGC regulations, because right now you all are students and you must know what will happen if you are identified or accused of plagiarism. So as per UGC norms, there are various levels of plagiarism identified. Level 0 is there are similarities less than 10%. Okay, then you can just pass as it is, or it will not be taken that seriously. Minor similarities are there, no penalty. Level 1, similarities above 10% to 40%. Okay, then level 2 is 40 to 60%, and level 3 is similarities above 60%. Let us see what are the penalties for this. These are the levels identified by UGC. Okay. You can go to our website, PICA website, where this plagiarism rules are posted. You can download those and study those in detail. Yeah, here it is, I have not specified here the penalties as such for level 1, level 2, level 3. We will see that. For repeated plagiarism, I don't know how I missed it. You will have a panel set for, once it is identified that you have plagiarized, then there will be a university panel who will be inquiring you, and based on these level 1, level 2, level 3, you will be penalized. Okay, the penalties may differ from, say, asking you to repeat that particular year to completely. Okay, thank you, Atmita. Okay, to completely debar you from the system, from the course. Penalty on repeated plagiarism. Such students shall be punished for the plagiarism of 1 level higher. So if second time you are found under plagiarism, then say if you are on level 2, then it will be considered as level 3 and you will be penalized for next level. Penalty in case where the degree or credits has already been obtained. So you have already obtained your degree, you have already obtained your certificate. Okay, in spite of that, the university may call back your certificate and may take away your degree. So don't be under impression that I have passed out and then now nothing can be done against me. I would like to tell you that in last 2 years, we came across 2-3 plagiarism cases in our own college. And that is why I want you to be very serious about it. There was one case like this note 2, where the degree was already given, the certificate also was already issued. In spite of that, when plagiarism was identified, it was there on the internet, the drawings, and the drawings were copied as it is. And it was identified as a level 2 plagiarism. That is more than 40%, but less than 60%, because the drawings were copied and text was not copied. So it was almost 50 to 55% plagiarism. And then the university panel inquired with the student. They went through all the work, the original work and the student's work that is copied, and the degree of that student was called back. It was taken back by the university, and the student has yet to give his whatever repeater exam. He was given 1 year to work on that, and then he was supposed to work on a completely new topic. He has to present the original work, submit it, and then he has to appear for the final exam again. Okay, so this is how serious it can be. If it was more than 60%, then the student might have got debarred from the process completely, and he would never become an architect. Okay. Then there is another provision of imprisonment that ranges between 6 months to 3 years. That is, apart from such penalties, you can have imprisonment, then you can have monetary penalties as well. What are the consequences? Of course, we have seen that it can be particularly in academics, you can lose an year, you will destroy your reputation. If it is publicized, then you may not even get employed anywhere. So your career opportunities will be destroyed. There will be legal repercussions now, depending on the original architect or author or designer. If he goes to court, then it will not remain under the purview of individual institute or UGC, then it will go to court, and then the accused may get the imprisonment also, as well as the monetary penalties. Okay, there are certain examples like this. Madonna had to pay $2.5 million to the original singer, Lebanese. There was another example of this Canadian singer. It was accepted even ex parte. Okay, and then you can see this copy work in comics. Here the copier, the person who copied the work, his reputation was completely spoiled in the field, and he did not get the further work. So these can be kind of penalties, like your career opportunities will be spoiled. You can have imprisonment, you can have monetary penalties as well. Okay, so I would like you all to take a serious note of it and keep away from plagiarism. See, it's not very difficult to keep away from plagiarism. It is very easy just to give the due credits to the original author. This is particularly in writing. Now, how we can avoid plagiarism in design? That also we will see. But all of you must be aware on your own that copying something line to line is a plagiarism, right? Or just as I said, that somebody else's work, just changing your name and then submitting it as your own is plagiarism. It is not ethical, and you all are aware of that. Okay, so how we can be creative, how we can copy. Of course, copying is not wrong, right? We have already seen that copying is not wrong. We can take inspiration from various sources. We can copy various sources, but ultimately we have to come up with something that is our own unique thing. The combination will be unique. The presentation will be unique. So how we can do that? Let us see how to steal like an artist. So we are talking about inspiration and we are talking about plagiarism. So how can we get inspired but still not accused of plagiarism? What is inspiration? To add or merge to create innovation. So this is what we have seen, that we can take multiple, we can read n number of articles or sources, and then we can have our own thoughts after digesting all this material. Then you come up with your own thought. Okay, then you can say that you are inspired by these various people. Add or merge to create innovation. So inspiration is actually a spark which is ignited by whatever you read, by whatever you see, observe, any specific event, people, okay, or work of someone else. Whereas plagiarism is either a degrading version or complete imitation. So it is simply a repeated representation of thoughts and ideas of others and pretending like that is your own creation is plagiarism. Okay, this is a unique case of this I Love New York. This you can say trademark. This was in 1977 when New York tourism was declining. Milton Glaser, he created this particular symbol of I Love New York, okay, in 1977. But he failed to register it. He did not try to identify this as his own intellectual property. And then you can see how it is used further by many other people. Okay, and considering that as their own work. But somehow, as I said, because it was not registered under the Copyright Act as per US law, he could not claim that somebody has plagiarized his work. But you can see the various versions of I Love New York here. This is another story of this font, Arial and Helvetica. You know, this Helvetica font is very old, that is 1957. And that was registered under Copyright Act. Then in 1982, there are very minor changes. You can see the top cat, the first letter here. This is in Helvetica and the lower one is in Arial. Okay, so Helvetica was registered under Copyright Act, and the user for this particular font will have to pay a lot of amount to this original author or creator. Now, Robin Nicholas and Patricia Saunders, they created another version of this Helvetica font, making certain few changes, and they offered it at low price. So during this particular period, when computers were more popular, became more popular and became more in use, at that time, this Apple and Microsoft, they did not want to pay a hefty amount to this Helvetica owner. Okay, so they all adopted Arial as their own basic font. So whenever you open the Microsoft Word, by default, it gives you Arial. So this is another example of how it happens in industry. In architecture, you can see these are the two versions. It's very difficult to identify which is original. But you know, architecture, in copying in architecture, when we are considering architecture as a creative field, so whenever you are copying something, you are expected to contextualize whatever you have learned, okay, and create something that is your own. So basically, architecture is based on location, climate, people, culture. That is how we contextualize our work, or whatever you have seen, whatever you are impressed by, or whatever you are influenced by. You can definitely use that, but contextualize it in your own way. So it is, of course, much more like whatever it looks on paper. It is very difficult to identify what the original architect must be thinking at that time. So it is always better for you to get influence, that is fine. If you want to copy something, that is still fine, but you have to present it, first of all, digest it and present it in your own unique way. So what is good theft and what is bad theft? If we say that everything is taken from somewhere and nothing is as original as we can say, okay, original. So nothing is original. Then if everything is stealing, then why there is some good stealing and some bad stealing? Why there is something that is appreciated and why there is something that is accused of plagiarism? So first thing, as we know, plagiarism is passing someone's work as your own. If you are copying, fine, you say that I am copying from this. Okay, there you are honoring the original work. You are respecting the original work. In good theft, you will study. You will try to identify what was the stimulant, what was the original idea, how it came into picture, complete background you will try to understand, and then probably adapt it to your circumstances. Okay, so you will study the material in detail. You will try to understand it, and then only you will be able to give something original that is of your own. Another thing is you have to refer to lots of material. So not only one. I get influenced by, say, Zaha Hadid, and then I will just copy her work as it is, irrespective of what I am designing. So if it is her school design, then I will be using it for hospital. Why? I just like that style. Okay, it is happening in some other country, I am doing it in India. Whether it fits into Indian context, if it fits into that climate for that culture, I'm not worried about it. I just want to just copy it. Okay, In that case, it is a bad theft. Whereas you study Zaha Hadid, you study many XYZ architects, okay, and then you come up with your own style, then you can say that, okay, this is something original. Though it is not original, we all know, but it comes from various references, various sources. Okay, another thing is you are giving due credit. You can always humbly say that, yes, I am influenced by these architects. And there is nothing wrong in that. You cannot pass on Zaha Hadid's work as your own and say that, yes, this is my original style. People will laugh at you. People know that this is someone else's work. Okay, so it's always better to be humble and say that, yes, I am influenced by Zaha Hadid, and people will really respect you. So don't imitate, compose it in your own unique manner, mix it, and then create something new. Okay, for all this, what you will need is, you will have to be curious, you will have to read a lot, you have to respect the original creator. Okay, you must have a lot of stamina and discipline, and the willingness to look stupid, willingness to identify yourself that you have copied from various sources and you are admitting it. You are saying that, yes, I am influenced, and then you are giving due credit to original. Nobody will laugh at you. Don't think that you will look stupid. Okay, it is always fine. So plagiarism is when you don't say where you have taken it from. Copyright infringement is you are not taking permission from the original author. And then when both of these are put together, you will be penalized for it. Okay. So how we can use inspiration ethically and legally so that we will not be charged of plagiarism? Okay, first of all, we have seen we will draw inspiration from multiple sources. We will improve upon the concept. So we have to understand the concept of the original work, and then you can improve upon it depending on your own requirement. And of course, credit your source. So this is the example that you can refer to. See, this is the original painting of a robo creating something, okay, a snowman. So this is the original work by Matt Dixon, which has inspired the another piece of art, this. So you can see that there is no copy work as such, but definitely inspiration. The second work is inspired by the first work. So Jim Gleason has inspired by this. However, he has expressed it in a completely different manner so that it will never be charged as plagiarism, though it is inspired from this. So the idea or the inspiration is there. He has used probably the same idea, but expressed it in a completely different manner. Great designers iterate and reiterate their work so many times that the resulting content is uniquely theirs. So what is iterating and reiterating is lots of do's and redos that you get, right, to improve yourself. And when you work, do and redo on your own design, even if you are taking it from somewhere else, contextualizing in your own manner, if you work on it again and again and again, rethink on it and rework on it, definitely you can get something that you can call as originally yours. Let us see what architects have to say about plagiarism. We are here to create a better, safer world. We should definitely be worried about plagiarism. We all see the same things, but we need to contextualize. We can use designs as a reference, but we need to channelize and find our own expression. Sometimes someone gets so fascinated by something that it's okay to be inspired. We all have been taught by copying. We all learned the same ABCD, but eventually we found our own combination of words to be created with the same ABCD. It is okay to get inspired, but what you create out of that inspiration, that really matters. Zaha Hadid says, if the copycat designs displayed innovative mutations, that would be really exciting. So you have to work and rework again and again to have the innovative mutations on your inspirations. Okay? So repetition, you know, it takes a lifetime to build and seconds to destroy. So I don't think anyone from us wants to destroy our reputation, want to be penalized for such a stupid thing as copying. And now we know there are various ways how we can avoid the charges of plagiarism, how we can avoid a silly copying thing, and how we can create something that we can call as our own work. Okay, so that's all from my side. Okay. Any questions?
Students, you may unmute yourself and ask questions if you have any.
Hi, Tejashree. Can I start? Before
Yes, please.
Yes, Kavita.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. It was a wonderful talk, and it was also for faculty and not only for students. So I also learned many things from your talk today. So thank you for that. Just like a very direct question is that when we have a studio project and sometimes we repeat the theme the next year, same theme we take. And with that, some students end up taking their senior students' work and their AutoCAD files directly. And sometimes they use as it is, or sometimes they make minor changes, very little changes into it. And then they try to pass it on to their own names. And as you know that we faculty member have been common for both years, we immediately are able to spot that.
Right.
So with this regard, also in thesis also this happens.
Yes.
So what would you say to students and faculty how to take such things, avoid these things and, what to do this? These are the direct plagiarisms in a way, but
Yes.
sometimes they even try to tweak a little bit. So,
you are asking about tweak a little bit. Then that tweak a little bit,
it wasn't enough. That's why we spotted.
exactly. So it will come under, say, you can analyze it whether it fits in what level 2, level 3, level 4. And if it is level 4, then definitely the student will lose an year. Okay. If it is level 2 or 3, and if the student has enough time, then probably we can consider giving a student another chance. Of course, it all depends on the panel. I'm just probably giving a glimpse of it, that what can happen or what panel may decide. Okay. So once it is identified, I would say that it has to be brought to the notice of principal and whatever, first of all, in charge of that particular studio, and then principal. It is a very serious thing. I would like to say first that it is a very, very serious offense. Until now, in last 10 years, this fraternity, even in basic education also, like until now we used to say ki research mein to plagiarism is a very serious offense, but not in education. But nowadays in education also, you go to any good university website and then you will come across various plagiarism rules, and these rules apply from even semester 1 of any undergraduation course as well, even in schools. So plagiarism rules are applied since school days and undergraduate also, and not only for the research fraternity. So it is a very serious offense in academics now. Okay, so once it is identified, I think the student should be should be reported. First of all, his work should be reported. And depending on that level, the student may get another chance to procure or produce his own different work or work on it again, putting everything aside, whatever he has done until now. Or if it is the end of the semester, then probably he will have to repeat the semester next time. Or depending on the seriousness, he may lose an year also. Have I answered your question, Kavita?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So if it is a tweaking little bit, that is same around or more than 60% copy is there, then
Yes.
definitely the student will come under level 4, which is a very serious level. And then he has to repeat the year or semester depending on the panel's decision.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. I hope the students are listening.
Actually,
And-
good you asked this question.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. And it happens in technical drawings as well. Huh? I want all
Oh.
students to take notice of this. Technical drawings also, you cannot pass someone's drawing as your own. Just now, I think I heard a situation where there is a same drawing, because it was a group work. There was a same drawing done by 4 people's group. And then this year they were supposed to work on services on the same drawing. So if 4 people are working separately on the same drawing or same design, definitely there will be some changes in their services decisions as well. It cannot be the same drawing, right? With the same location of ICs, same location of electrical substations or meters. It cannot be exactly same. Individual decisions with respect to services and construction also will change. And it has to be reflected in drawings. It cannot be same.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Even the facade sections.
Right?
Say, yeah. So those are also very typical that
Yeah.
students take from the seniors, and they, in a same class, we will have 5 or 6 students submitting the same section and to the same faculty.
So I think that is why this lecture is happening, so that students will know what is not acceptable.
Yes, yeah.
So henceforth, no student can say that we were not aware. Now you are aware.
Yes, yeah. From here on, if we catch such things that 4 or 5 students, or even like 1 or more, submitted the same facade section, and it is appearing as building construction, so final submission
Right,
Okay.
right,
of design dissertation or whatever, any other semester as well,
right.
then we will straight take them to you and we will
Yes,
investigate.
yes, you are
Yes.
welcome. I would like to mention another case also, like last year it was. There was one thesis that was submitted. I think it was a pre-final submission. Okay, and at that time, as you said, there was one pass out student who reported by mail to me that his drawing is being copied by one XYZ student as it is. And then, of course, it was a written complaint. I had to take cognizance of that. And when we came across that particular work, which was in pre-final stage and submitted to us, we went through that previous thesis of the ex-student. And then we came across, or we came to know that it was a copy of that one student's work, as well as there was a copy of another student's work also, that we came to know. So it was a combination of 2 students' work. So again, there was a panel inquiry, and then the student was asked to completely keep aside whatever he has worked, and then he has to work afresh on the same topic maybe, and then he has to submit it in the next semester. There was one case where we got the mail from another institute student mentioning that his work is being copied by one of our students. So again, we had to take cognizance of that. There also the panel inquiry happened, and the student has to lose that particular semester. So these are all previous instances in these 2 years itself.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, ma'am. So knowing this, now there are 180 students here listening to this.
Right.
So hopefully this will not come to light now. In a sense, they will not engage in these activities, and we don't have to get involved with the entire inquiry and the process, and then punish
Right.
them for it. So that is
Yeah, this is a
instead we
very
would
sad
like.
situation for us.
Right. Instead, we would like to, engage in more into teaching, learning, do something innovative together
True.
with the students. We would so much like to do that instead of catching their
These are to
copies.
be positive activities of
Yes,
teaching and
yes.
learning, and not
Yes.
negative.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully this now we will, from here on, we will do those things more, as students will not copy now. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
And students, it is actually in India, we are being very lenient, particularly for such cases. But internationally, it is not that lenient. So if you are copying from internet, and if it is caught by that original author sometimes, because it is quite possible that your work also is published somewhere, or you put it somewhere, maybe on your Facebook or something. And then if it is caught by that original author, and if he complains from university to university, then even after you pass out, after say 5 years, 10 years, also your degree will be taken away. And then you will be internationally charged of plagiarism. And then you will have to face international panel as well. So your whole career will be spoiled. So don't be under impression कि pass हो गए तो हो गया. Okay, any other question, doubt?
Susmit,
I
yeah.
have
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Sorry,
Smita ma'am.
Susmit, you want to go first?
You go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So no, I feel this was a very important session, and I'm glad that it happened, and so very lucidly you have explained everything. My question is about particularly with this online exams that we have, and students are copy pasting stuff from the internet for the answers. And it is very easy to detect that, because the language itself, one can easily make out that the student has not written it themselves. And secondly, by reverse Google search, we can also find out that it is taken from which website. Of course, if we put all the answer sheets through plagiarism check, then everything will be highlighted. But even Google search also shows up that which websites things have been copied. So now assignment is one thing. This should not be done for assignments also, but something as serious as an exam, a semester end official exam. If there are these kind of blatant copy paste from the internet, then what are the consequences of that?
See, Smita ma'am, actually this online exams is a kind of decision that we had to take, the university had to take, because of this unavoidable situation of COVID-19. Otherwise, it is all administered exams at individual institutes or by university. But somehow online, it is very difficult. But we had to take exams because university is not able to pass students without exams. And
No,
that is
fine.
why
So,
these online exams are happening.
My question is not, my objection is not to online exam.
I
It
know,
is
I know.
about copy pasting
Yeah,
from the
I'm
internet.
coming to that, because see, we are not, means I don't think any institute here is in a position to implement these kind of online exams with administration. So that is very difficult right now. And that's why I think students are taking disadvantage of this. Another thing is, I think today we are discussing this plagiarism in their whatever research work, studio work. and examination paper writing is, I think, out of purview of this particular lecture. So we have to think on it, that how we can administer exams also. If this is going to continue, then definitely we have to come up with some system where we can avoid this copy paste.
Because one thing I can say is that you mentioned about the international practices.
Yes.
You mentioned that right from the school level,
Yes.
it is it is prohibited to do copy pasting either from the internet or from other sources, etc. One
Right.
has to study, refer to a lot of sources, and then compose one's own essay, etc., by giving proper citations, etc. Right. So these academic practices are in prevalence right from the school level.
Yes.
In the US, in European countries, also in Eastern countries, etc. A lot of our students aspire to go to the US and other countries for the higher studies, and I think they should know that that submitting essays, submitting assignments where there is just blatant copy paste. Yeah, and it's because everything goes through the plagiarism check, and it is this is considered a very, very serious offense.
Yes.
So yeah, so even written assignments like essays, reviews, etc. Are taken very seriously, and morally also it is considered very repugnant. So right from the school days, children are taught to write their own essays, and it is considered not a good thing to directly copy from anywhere. So I feel that this is also true for architecture students when it comes to their written assignments, exams, and I feel that with the online thing, it is actually easier to catch that copy, because we possess the same tools as the copier themselves. Yeah,
very true. And I think these morals and ethics in India also, we should start teaching them since school as well. Everyone knows that this copying is wrong, but still it's always used as a shortcut. Okay, Smita, it's that, that was the only question? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Sasmit. Sasmit?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry,
yes.
I was on mute. Okay. Ma'am, I'm really glad that we are having a discussion on such an important aspect today. And thank you for that, ma'am. My reaction is specifically with respect to the first year batch. Sorry, they are now in second year. Okay. So I have been working with multiple subjects with them, and we have different modes of showcasing the work or subjects. For example, we have studio, we have theory, etc., etc. And students have been making PPT presentations or reports also, which include data, mostly the technical data, which they need to collect, suppose photographs of sites, basically, because they are not able to go to site. They collect photographs, collect some other data from internet resources. And due to this online platform, we are bound to do that. So plagiarism is not at only thesis or major work level. It is also at simpler levels like making a report.
Right.
Even if exactly. So I really meant to, ma'am, you need to mention this, emphasize this very strongly, that even a simple report, which is for any simple topic in any particular subject, may it be EVS, may it be history, may it be humanities, even that report, which has data taken from any website, should have a mention of the website or the author or the location from where the data has been taken from. So it doesn't only apply to the major thesis subjects or larger.
Sasmit, good you pointed out this. Because actually when this lecture I planned, it was there on my mind that this has to be applicable, or students have to take it into every subject, not only for thesis purpose. Okay, in every architecture, and that's why I have mentioned architecture design, technical drawings as well. So it has to be every subject. Since your first year, you have to follow these practices. Again, I'm coming back to copying. Copying is not bad. Fine, you have to copy from various sources, because sitting at one place, you don't know, or you cannot submit a particular report without referring to various sources, because it is not there in your mind. You are here to learn. Okay, and you will learn from various sources. You will learn from your teachers, as well as you will refer to various sources. Fine, refer to various sources. First of all, refer to various sources. Okay, not only one source. That is important. And second thing is, whatever report you are writing, or whatever essays you are writing, whatever photographs you are putting in, you have to give the reference to that. From where you have taken the photograph, immediately below the photograph, if you put the link, it is acceptable, no problem. If you are writing some paragraph and you have inspired, okay, or you are influenced by certain thoughts of, say, one or two websites or some papers, some authors, some books, fine. You write that paragraph, and in front of that, you mention from where you have taken. Or maybe at the end of the paper, you can give the list of all these sources. Okay. So this is still fine. This is still acceptable, provided you are giving due credit to the original work. And I think this should be a practice in every subject from first year.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yes.
And ma'am, also there is second point which I wanted to mention is about students do look at each other's work in a normal studio. They get inspired from each other's work also. Okay, but there's a very thin line between getting inspired and copying somebody's work.
Right.
So there have been instances where, and second thing is, in technical subjects specifically, what happens is there is only one particular detail which has been given, but students are supposed to apply that detail in their designs, which is different. So this is also one more aspect which I wanted to emphasize in this forum, ma'am, that though technical details are same, that doesn't mean your individual detail sheet should be same. Also, sharing the data. For example, there are many students who do not attend the classes live. They refer to the recorded videos for whatever reasons. Then they ask their friends to give them their sheets or their work. That also is not a good practice, because then there are two aspects to it. One, you are copying somebody else's work because somebody else has worked on it. Second is your development as a person, as an architect, is also not happening, because those technical drawings or that technical particular subject you have not understood, since you are not able to apply it in your own designs. So and these technical details, they're going to learn through all 5 years, not only in first and second year. So also these two aspects have to be understood, that do not
that is what is putting results ahead of processes, na?
Exactly.
So what you are interested is in final result. I have got passing marks enough. Even if I have not learned anything, it's still fine. That is the student's attitude. And that is the shortcut they are finding.
Yes, students for sharing the work are also at fault, and students who is borrowing the work
exactly.
are also at fault.
So when I was talking about copyrights, it was for the students. When they will be in practice, their own original work, if they have worked a lot on it, if they have put in lots of efforts, lot of time, and then they are producing some original work, then it is their own responsibility to protect it also. They should not allow anyone else to take disadvantage of them and allow someone else to copy them and pass it as their own. So the student who is sharing his own original drawing is also at fault. Right? And that's why I have shown that example of I Love New York, because it was not protected by Copyright Act. Anyone else could copy it. Right? So it was the responsibility of the original creator also. And nowadays it has become very, very important. You should be aware of your rights and you should protect your own work. Another thing is getting inspired by someone's concept. I think if the concept is developed in a completely different manner, then that should be fine. So it all depends on the professors to evaluate that. Have I answered your question, Sasmi?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much for making this very. I'm glad we're having this discussion with the students.
Yeah, this is very clear that since your first year, you have to follow this. And I think teachers also should take cognizance of this, that whatever assignment we are giving them, see to it that they are giving the proper references or not. References and citations, both. Let us make it a habit since first year.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. That's it for me.
Okay. Anyone else? Students? No questions? No
Students are worried
confusions?
now. Students are worried because everything is copied.
That's what I said. Now, copying is still fine.
No,
But
not
they have to,
directly,
yeah,
not
they have
only
to.
copying,
Huh.
but ultimately it is the same thing, na? Because they don't even tend to change the dates or things like that also. They copy the same thing. Then it cannot be a simple copy.
Yeah, I remember some students who forgot to change the name also.
That's what.
But they should know that if it is identified, what will be the consequences.
That is important.
And if you are using the same words as it is and copying pasting as it is, then everything will be in citation. And there is not a single line by yourself. So it will be 100% plagiarism. Because you are submitting it as your own assignment. Students, are you all there or not?
I think there all the questions got answered because of faculty questions.
Okay. So I assume that now there are no more doubts or questions. Should we end the session?
So I have one thing to say, to add to what Sasmit was just saying, that how students who did not attend the class and then rather than learning it themselves from recorded lecture, they just borrow a sheet from their friend and copy that sheet. So in such a scenario, in academics, both the lender and borrower are at fault, and actually both are liable for punishment. जो अपनी शीट कॉपी करने के लिए देता है वो भी गलत कर रहा है and can be penalized.
Very true.
And I think they have to understand that they are not actually helping their friend. They are making their
Right.
friend a disabled person, who cannot learn by themselves. So yeah, so I think there is a true friend should teach their friend, but not give them direct material to copy.
Very true. And yes, as you said, Smita, rightly, that both the lender and the taker both should be penalized. And all students, please keep this in mind. If your drawing is found copied by someone else, then you are answerable for that. You can't say कि मैंने तो ऐसे दिया था, उसने कॉपी करके सबमिट कर दिया और उसने वैसे ही सबमिट कर दिया. You also will be penalized for that.
I would request students to ask any doubts which you have. All faculties, Pension ma'am is here, so
Yes.
I would still request any you don't think it's a silly doubt or what will people think about me. You have to ask. Please learn to question.
Learn to ask. Yes.
Yes, learn to ask.
Very
Don't
good.
always depend on recordings. You have got into a habit.
Because we face the similar scenario in all guest lectures.
Exactly, ma'am.
Students, I have put the link to this UGC rules and regulations regarding plagiarism in the chat box. So all of you please refer to that, download it and study it. Okay, students, come on, ask any doubts, any stupid doubts is fine. Okay, I think that's all. Tejashri, you want everyone's attendance in the chat box?
I have recorded that, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So shall we end the session here?
Yes. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Suzanne, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you so much.